Tonight from Baltimore's Camden Yards, the Red Sox go for their 7th consecutive victory. It's Game 3 on the trip with a chance to push the Orioles 6 games back in the American League East. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Camden Yards. Great to have you with us tonight. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner is Jerry Remy. Garen Austin along in just a couple of moments. And, Jerry, as we go around the league and talk to general managers, executive scouts, they all call the Red Sox lineup the deepest in all of baseball, don't they?
Well, there's a reason for that. You look 1 through 9, and they're very difficult to get out. I mean, they lead the American League. They lead baseball in runs scored. And, of course, one of the reasons for that, when you look at Jackie Bradley hitting either 7th, 8th, or 9th this season, the bottom of the batting order, the numbers are absolutely remarkable. Now, last night, Jackie had a home run. He's got an outside chance to be a 3,100 guy hitting toward the bottom of the lineup for the Red Sox. And when we look at the numbers 7 through 9, when he hits in those positions, it's been 65 games, a 333 average, 12 of his home runs coming in those spots, and 46 RBIs. And that's not to mention all the runs that he's also saved defensively in the outfield for the Boston Red Sox. So, you know, when you lead the league in runs, everybody's got to contribute, and they're getting big-time production from the bottom of the batting order from Jackie Bradley Jr.
Jackie hitting 7th in the order tonight here against the Orioles as the Red Sox go for the series win regardless of what happens tomorrow night. And it's Clay Buchholz on the hill. A victory gives the Red Sox the first 3 here at Camden Yards, and Game 3 is coming up in a moment. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. DraftKings, the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of your Boston Red Sox. Santander Bank, you're right with Simply Right checking from Santander Bank. Bob's Discount Furniture, everybody saves at Bob's Discount Furniture in-store or at mybobs.com. And by Southwest Airlines, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Red Sox and the Orioles coming at you in just a moment. So is Garen Austin. And Garen, I know you had a chance to talk to Clay Buchholz about this big start tonight against the O's.
I did, Obie, and Clay Buchholz said that he's feeling really good and he's making steady progress in the right direction despite the start in Toronto. He said this O's lineup is very aggressive and you really have to minimize messes and command each pitch. Here's what he had to say about playing September baseball and how well the team has been playing.
Our offense is, it's second to none, obviously. We able to go up there and score runs whenever we need to, and there hadn't really been an extended period of downtime for our offense, and I think the bullpen's coming together like everybody thought it would. This is what you play for. It's especially being at home and starting to play a little bit better at home and then sweeping the Yankees. That's probably maybe 2 times that I've been a part of a 4-game sweep. So. Yeah, it's definitely moving in the right direction. Hopefully we can keep it going and get a spot in October, and then season starts over from there, and hopefully do something special.
And we welcome you back to Camden Yards here in Baltimore. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien with you. Great night for a ball game. Just perfect temperatures and dry conditions here for Game 3 between the Sox and the Birds. And time to look at the Red Sox lineup. It's brought to you by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Dustin Pedroia back in there after sitting last night. Xander Bogaerts at short. David Ortiz with 121 RBIs, followed by Mookie Betts, Travis Shaw, and Aaron Hill, who gets the nod at third. Jackie Bradley's in center, Sandy Leon doing the catching, and Andrew Benintendi is in left field and batting ninth. All against the Orioles starter, brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. The right-hander, Ubaldo Jimenez, who is 7-11 with a high ERA at 5.94.
The Orioles defense is brought to you by DraftKings, and they are third in the American League with 71 errors on the season. Manny Machado will be at third base. J.J. Hardy, the shortstop. Jonathan Scope at second, and Chris Davis, the first baseman. Left to right, Hyun-Soo Kim, Adam Jones, and Mark Trumbo, and Matt Wieters doing the catching for Jimenez.
Your umpires tonight are brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. Jordan Baker has the plate. Mark Wegner at first. Tim Timmons at second. Mike Everett at third base. Where available, this telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your TV remote. SAP presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory-backed Toyota Certified used vehicle right now.
Buenas noches, amigos.
We've already talked about what a great night it is here for Game 3. 81 degrees, light and variable. The winds mostly cloudy. Still a little bit of sunshine right now as Dustin Pedroia marches up to swing. And we're keeping an eye on Toronto and Seattle. They've gone to the 10th inning and they're all tied up at 1-1. Joey Bautista hit a home run. Jose Bautista with that home run. Joey Bats to tie that ball game and move it to extra innings. Red Sox have won 6 in a row, 8 of their last 10. And Pedroia, who sat last night with a bit of a sore knee, back in there tonight. And the first pitch is downstairs, and we are underway.
That's a great sign for the Red Sox to have Pedroia back in the lineup right away. There you see the pitch arsenal for Jimenez. That changeup's a split-fingered fastball.
Pedroia likes to face this guy. A lot of Red Sox do. He is 11 for 29 against Jimenez. That's .379.
Yeah, in 2 starts this season against Boston, 0-1 with an 8.10 ERA.
A strike. Xander Bogaerts on deck, and then David Ortiz. Red Sox going into play today. 4 games up on Toronto, 5 on these Orioles. And after tonight, there are 10 games remaining. And a pop up behind first down the line. That's going to keep on cruising and foul off into the seats.
That looked like the split-fingered fastball that time, and a good job by Pedroia to foul that pitch off.
About 10 days ago, when the Red Sox were up in Toronto, Pedroia banged up his left knee on that artificial surface, which can do some damage.
Now, it's a good sign today. When John Farrell walked in, Pedroia gave him the thumbs up, so he was put in the lineup.
Hitting .325 with 13 homers. He's driven in 67 runs. Andy Ramirez with the night off. And the 2-2. And a full count on Pedroia.
I'm trying to put him away with that splitter, and all of a sudden the count runs full 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bogarts waiting on deck.
Jimenez surprisingly has been one of the Orioles' better starters over the last month. Crack to the shortstop, and Hardy digs it out to get him for out number 1. They put him back in a rotation. They had him in the bullpen for a while, but back in a rotation after Chris Tillman went on the DL. In his last outing, Jimenez had no decision against Tampa Bay, a 5-4 Orioles win, but he went 7 innings and struck out 8. Xander hitting .296 with 20 homers. He's driven in 88 runs. Also with a .389 career average against this right-hander. He'll take strike 1. David Ortiz on deck. And for a few minutes last night, Ortiz had actually taken over the American League RBI lead after his home run, getting him to 121. You and I were talking about it on the way out last night, Jerry, that at some point, isn't David Ortiz a most valuable player candidate?
Well, you know, I think it's the talk is going to start. You know, a lot of the talk, obviously, for the Red Sox has been Mookie Betts, and that is certainly legitimate. But Ortiz's name has to come up.
Swing and a miss, and down goes Bogarts. He strikes out, 2 away.
That's a split-fingered fastball right there to Bogarts to pick up this strikeout. And you see the split grip, and that ball dipping down and in to Bogarts. Even from the side, you can see the bottom fall out of that split finger pitch.
Ortiz .318, 36 homers, now 121 runs batted in. He is second in the American League in RBIs, and he swings and misses for strike 1. David said after ripping number 36 last night to set the record for most home runs by a player in his final season, I'll try to hit a couple more so nobody else can reach me. Flying into right field, the unusual shift there, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Schopp went racing out. He was already playing very deep, and Trumbo couldn't get to it, and it falls for a single.
Yeah, that's almost impossible to do. I mean, where Schopp plays, he plays so deep. There's a split-fingered fastball again, and it's right at the end of the bat for Ortiz, so it breaks the bat, but it drops in between Schopp and Trumbo. Trumbo didn't get a real good jump on that ball, so he plays it very carefully, especially with 2 outs, to keep Ortiz at first base.
Sending up Mookie Betts, .317, 31 homers, 108 RBIs, and a 7-game hitting streak. And Mookie will take ball 1. Overall for the year, 9 home runs against the Orioles, and 8 of them have come here at Camden Yards.
And very good numbers against Jimenez, .412 in his career.
The 1-0 pitch will miss, and the count 2-0.
How many fastballs so far? Mostly sliders and splitters.
Big night for Mookie last night as he reached 200 hits. He has passed Altuve for the major league hit lead. 2 balls, 1 strike. This greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. And now Altuve has gone in front, 202 to 201. And Dustin Pedroia not far behind. Pedroia is actually on pace for 204 hits this season. 3-1.
That's the kind of mistake you hope he makes with that split-fingered fastball. Leaves it up in the zone. That went a little bit too high, but you leave that pitch about belt high, it can go a long way.
Shaw on deck. David Ortiz at first. And a strike. Just on the corner. Jimenez with that pretty complicated delivery. Sometimes gets seriously out of whack. Lately he's been very effective. And the 3-2 home. Check swing and it's inside. They appeal. No swing, says Mark Wegner. So it'll be ball 4. Betts will take first. Ortiz down to second.
Now I think that's the proper call by Wegner down at first base. Look it from the side. He had a good job right there by Betts to control the head of the bat.
Travis Shaw now 249, 16 home runs and 71 runs batted in. Never had a hit against Jimenez. He's 0 for 8 against the right-hander. And the Red Sox trying to strike quickly. That'll be strike 1.
That's the fastball right there, topping out right now at 88 miles an hour.
Jimenez 32 years old from the Dominican. And that one lofted foul back out of play to make it 0-2.
Elevating again on Travis Shaw. They like to do that with the hard stuff. That time 90, but above the belt.
Ortiz and Betts on the bases here in the top half of the first inning. And the 0-2 dribbles that one foul. Travis 16 home runs and 12 of them have come against right-handers. Aaron Hill hoping for a chance to bat in this inning on deck. Jimenez with a very long look in, finally picks one out from Wieters. And now time is granted to Travis Shaw.
Now sometimes as a catcher you put down so many signs you forget yourself what you called. And that's what Wieters did. He wanted a timeout to kind of refresh his own memory.
0-2. Ground ball and a base hit into right field. Ortiz will be held at third base by Brian Butterfield. And that's going to load up the bases on the single by Travis Shaw.
Yeah, most guys certainly would have been able to score on that, but not David Ortiz. No chance. Split-fingered fastball again, and boy, there have been a lot of them here in the first inning. They tried to change eye level with Travis Shaw. They went upstairs with fastballs, then back down with the splitter. He picks up the base hit. So bases now loaded with 2 outs.
Opportunity knocking here for Aaron Hill, playing third base tonight. He's hitting .219 with 1 home run. Does have 1 career home run against Jimenez. He'll take a ball. Jackie Bradley on deck. Man we featured in our open tonight. Crushed a home run here last night and the Red Sox win. He'll lay off, and that's ball 2.
What a good hitting position to be in right now. You got a guy that doesn't like to throw his fastball very much, but this certainly is a fastball count.
Last 5 or 6 weeks the Red Sox have improved dramatically with the bases loaded. Here's the 2-0.
And he did not throw the fastball. He stays with the slider on the 2-0 count. And keeping it away from Hill. Hill expecting the fastball, does not get it.
Ortiz, Betts, and Shaw on the bases. And that's a strike. He made a tough pitch there on the corner.
Really pitching backwards right now. I mean, he throws a 2-0 breaking ball and a 2-1 fastball. It was supposed to be away, but it gets the inside corner.
2-2. Two down and the bases jammed for the Red Sox. Scooped up by Wieters almost to the backstop. And that fills up the count.
That's a very nice backhanded play by Matt Wieters. That saves a run. Although there's no guarantee in this ballpark because that backstop, the ball really bounces back quickly off that.
And Ortiz is the runner at third base. 3-2 runners go. And a ground ball dribble toward third base. Machado will glove, fire, close, and got him. On a bang play, John Farrell is out on the top step. First base umpire Wegner said he got him. Let's take a look.
Very close, but I think he did get him.
And so the Red Sox will not challenge, and they fail to score here in the first inning. 0-0 after a half inning in Baltimore. Brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Adam Jones, Hyun-Soo Kim, Manny Machado 1, 2, 3. Then Davis out of the fourth spot. Trumbo hitting fifth. He has 43 home runs. Alvarez is 21. Scope 24. Then it's Wieters and Hardy against the Red Sox starter presented by your New England Auto dealers, and that is Clay Buchholz. He is 7-10, a 5.20 ERA.
And coming off a win against the New York Yankees, went 6 innings in that game, gave up 2 earned runs.
Jones at 274, 28 home runs. He has faced Clay a lot, 35 times. He's 10 for 35 with a couple of homers. And a right-hander who's been working consistently out of the stretch for some time. The 1-0. A strike.
Yeah, one thing Adam Jones was doing today, he was out early taking extra batting practice early this afternoon and was using a pitching machine to throw in breaking balls.
The 1-1. A ball and 2 strikes on Jones, who homered last night against Rodriguez. Eduardo pitched an outstanding game for 6 1/3, and then the bullpen took over. And has certainly been the case throughout September. The bullpen has been doing great work. Lowest ERA in baseball in September. 1-2. All even now on Jones. Kim on deck.
First changeup, Buchholz tried right there, but left it upstairs. You saw the percentage of fastballs under our category we showed you a little while ago, and you know they're broken up fastballs here. 2-seam fastballs, cut fastballs. So you really got about 4 different pitches under the fastball percentages.
Swung on and missed. Down he goes, strike 3.
That's a great sign right there. Very good changeup by Buchholz. Well, the Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They are 4th in the league with 74 errors on the season. Aaron Hill at third base, Xander Bogaerts the shortstop, Dustin Pedroia at second, and Travis Shaw the first baseman. Left to right, Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts, and Sandy Leon doing the catching for Clay Buchholz.
Hyun-Soo Kim in left field tonight, hitting .309 with 4 home runs. Goes after the first one. Nice sliding stab by Pedroia. Up to get him. 2 down.
And one thing Buchholz did mention, and we've seen it in the first couple of games of the series, this Oriole club very, very aggressive. So you have to be careful on those first pitches.
Fans, be sure to stop by Plain Ridge Park Casino. Plain Ridge Park Casino is the official sponsor of winning. Machado now hitting an even .300 with 36 home runs. Aaron Hill a little bit unlucky with the bases loaded and 2 down. He hit it to the wrong guy. He has an outstanding arm. And certainly one of the very best defenders in all of baseball, regardless of position. Won 2 Gold Gloves at third. 4 for 18 lifetime against Clay, who deals ball 1. And the right-hander from Texas fires and leaves it downstairs. Clay, lifetime against the Orioles, 10-7. ERA of .390. 5-3 here at Camden Yards. And of course, he tossed a no-hitter against Baltimore back on September 1 of 2007. That was at Fenway. Here's the 2-0. Just missed. He did not get the call there from Jordan Baker.
Cut fastball right at the top of the strike zone, but not going the direction of Clay Buchholz.
Chris Davis on deck. And the 3-0 pitch. Thought about it, in there for a strike. It's a lineup with 6 players who have hit 20 or more home runs. Jones, Scope, Alvarez, Trumbo, Davis, and Machado. The 3-1. Rolled towards short. Here comes Hill to cut it off. He flips on to get him, and a good start for Clay Buchholz. He gets him 1-2-3, and we are scoreless in Baltimore after 1. 1986 Red Sox game number 152. The Red Sox would lose to the Blue Jays 1-0. Roger Clemens with 9 shutout innings, but the Sox fell in 12 to Toronto. Toronto right now is playing in extra innings. They're tied up 1-1 with Seattle. They've gone to the 11th inning. We are scoreless after an inning here in Baltimore as Jackie Bradley swings at the first pitch and skies a pop-up around home plate. And Wieters behind the plate will put it away. So a fast out in the second inning for the Red Sox, who left the bases loaded in the first. Sandy Leon will be next. Sox coming into play tonight with the best September record in the majors at 13-5. And Jerry, a team playing with great confidence right now.
Yeah, they are. You know, we highlighted too in our view from the booth tonight about how well they played on the road since the All-Star break.
Now, some very long trips and tough trips in terms of arrival times and distance, and yet the Red Sox 2 trips ago went 7-4, 6-3 on the last trip, the West Coast swing, and now 2-0 on this trip. And John Farrell's talked about the confidence that has been breeding inside the Red Sox clubhouse. Now will miss down low for a ball, and Sandy hitting .328 with 7 home runs. And things just coming together for this Boston team, particularly here in the month of September when it really matters.
One of the reasons for that good record for the Red Sox on the road, they've had very good pitching.
Now, that was the case again last night. Rodriguez against his old team. Impressive. 3-2 now on Sandy.
Yeah, Rodriguez with electric stuff in the game last night. Some giddy up to that fastball last night. Located it very well. Threw some sliders starting in about the 4th inning. Porcello, of course, we know what he's been doing.
3-2, cut on and missed, and Sandy Leon now 0 for his last 14 as he strikes out for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts so far, and both have been on split-fingered fastballs. Got Bogarts back in the 1st inning. Now gets Leon with the splitter. Here in the 2nd inning, you see the rotation again, moving down and away from the left-handed hitter. Very tough pitch to hit, as long as it's down in the zone.
Here's Andrew Benintendi, .321 with 1 home run. He has a 5-game hitting streak. He's in left field here for game 3. No score in the 2nd inning. Red Sox lead the season series with Baltimore 9-8. That's it for a strike. Pedroia on deck. 1-2.
And we often talk about the Oriole defense, especially the outfield defense, how they kind of pinch everybody towards center field. They give you the lines for the most part, and they try to take away 3-base hits.
Two balls and 2 strikes. They are not mobile at all on the corners. And Trumbo and Kim. Jones is an outstanding defender in center field. He has to cover a lot of ground out there. It's a lot of pressure on him. And the 2-2 from Jimenez. Fouled away. You saw Benintendi score a run a couple of nights ago, running very free and easy despite wearing that brace on that injured knee. Showed excellent speed. The 2-2 coming. And he chased the pitch down into the dirt. Down he goes. Wieters will have to throw him out. And the Red Sox go 1-2-3 very quietly here in the 2nd inning. We have no score. Red Sox win. Plainridge Park Casino donates $777 to the Relay for Life of Greater Attleboro. Back in Baltimore, no score to the bottom of the second inning. Davis, Trumbo, Alvarez against Clay Buchholz, who breezed through the first inning. Red Sox have tied their longest winning streak of the season at 6. And every one of those wins has been by 3 runs or less. Strike on Davis. .221, 38 homers, 82 RBIs for the big first baseman. He's going to be with the Orioles a while. Last year he signed a 7-year contract. Quickly 0-2.
A good sign so far for Buchholz as he's throwing some changeups here early in the game, and they've been very good changeups. That one chased by Chris Davis, a changeup that's going to be down and in. There you see the grip, but it's, you know, not even close to being a strike, but chased.
And Clay with the 0-2. Just missed.
Tried it again. Tried the changeup back inside again. Hanley Ramirez on the bench tonight.
Very loose.
Yeah, he wishes his shoulder was as loose as his attitude right now, because that's what's keeping him basically out of the lineup. Like nothing serious.
1-2 fouled away. It's one of those where you'd love to know what the joke was that made him break up like that, because he couldn't laugh any harder than that.
That's something Ortiz said. There's no question about that.
Had to be. His big brother, as he calls him. Hanley has been as hot as anybody in the big leagues. And a 1-2 pitch to Davis. Little flare down the left field line. Benintendi giving chase, but it's going to drop foul. Trumbo on deck.
The case there where they got the fastball inside on Davis and really tied him up. It wasn't intended to be an inside fastball, but that's where it ended up. And you get that little flare in the foul territory. They wanted that pitch away. You can see where Leon is sitting away, but instead the fastball goes inside and gets him right around the label of the bat.
They've gone to the bottom of the 11th inning in Seattle, tied up 1-1 with Toronto, and the Mariners have a couple of men on and 1 out. They have a chance to win that game. Cut on and missed. Down goes Davis. Second strikeout for Clay Buchholz tonight.
Now 2 strikeouts so far for Buchholz, and in both on changeups. He got Jones to lead off the game on a changeup, and another good changeup here to Davis. Maybe a little bit higher than Clay would have liked it, but still gets a good result.
Trumbo next at 248 with the 43 home runs, #1 in the majors. 3 for 11 against Clay with a home run. And he deals him strike 1. We've been talking so much about the race in the American League East. The Red Sox with a 4-game lead over Toronto. How about the National League wild card? You've got 3 teams right now tied for the wild card. The Mets, the Giants, and St. Louis, all with identical records. And a terrific race there. Bogaerts will gobble it up and throw across to get him. 2 up, 2 down here in the second inning for Clay.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting last week and a half of baseball, both in the American League and the National League.
Capital One Frozen Fenway returns to Boston in January of 2017. Fans can enjoy 2 exciting outdoor Hockey East doubleheaders on the 7th and 14th of January. Tickets are on sale right now. Visit redsox.com/frozenfenway for more information. Alvarez 250, 221 home runs. One of the 6 guys in their lineup who have hit at least 20. They live and die by the home run here in Baltimore. They're the first club to have 6 20 home run men since the Toronto Blue Jays of 2010. But will it be enough to get to postseason play? The 1-0. He left it up top for a ball.
A couple of changeups that is left a little bit too high in the zone. Fortunately, that one not swung at by Alvarez.
Alvarez has been a home run hitter back in his day with the Pittsburgh Pirates and now here in the American League. And he'll take ball 3.
Again, you know, he knows, Buckles, how aggressive these Orioles are. Even on the 2-0 count, he goes to the changeup but leaves it upstairs. Alvarez may have the green light. 3-0.
2 for 4 in his career against the righty. He lays off a strike. Buchholz, a very respectable 3.46 ERA in his last 14 appearances, including 6 starts. All of that time working from the stretch. Here's the 3-1. Rocketed but foul. Quickly into the stands.
Yeah, when you're following at home and watching the catcher sign, when you see Leon put the 3 down, that means it's a cut fastball from Buchholz.
No score in the second inning with 2 down. And 3 balls, 2 strikes, and Pedro Alvarez.
We all know this is the changeup.
And in there for strike 3. The call by Baker. He rings him up. Buchholz looking sharp early. 2 strikeouts in that inning. And we have no score after 2. Like the pros at franklinsports.com/custom. Enter the code NESSON20 to receive 20% off at checkout. Franklin, the proud official batting glove of Major League Baseball. 3rd inning, no score. And Pedroia will lead things off here against Jimenez. Does have 3 strikeouts in the first 2 innings. Pedroia starting the night with a ground ball to short. He is still number 2 in the American League batting race. He started this night 11 points behind Altuve, who was in the MVP discussion right there with Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, and perhaps David Ortiz, giving away David is closing out his final regular season. Two and one. Xander Bogaerts on deck, and then Big Papi here in the third, and the 2-1. Slice foul out of play.
Little movement on that fastball, 89 and down, but it also came back in to Pedroia. He fouls it off first base way. And you see the two-seam fastball, and you see that late movement, how it comes back in down toward the knees of Dustin Pedroia. That right there was the split-fingered fastball, 82 miles an hour.
And fills up the count. He walked Mookie Betts in the first inning. Then Travis Shaw single that loaded him up, but Aaron Hill grounded out to third on a bang play to retire the side. High fly foul down the right field line by Dustin Pedroia as he hangs in there. The Red Sox typically have handled Jimenez very well. His career ERA against Boston is 7.39. Little flare in the right field. Trumbo coming on. One man away.
You know, so far in this game for both sides, it's almost like a surprise when the pitcher throws a fastball. We've seen an awful lot of off-speed pitches by both Buchholz and Jimenez early in this game. That was a fastball that time, and it beat Pedroia a little bit.
So Petey 0 for 2. Bogaerts struck out first inning. He has hit safely in his last 13 games at Camden Yards, so he's kind of settling in here as well. Nobody like Mookie Betts, but seeing it well here. And I've never talked to a hitter, Jerry, who didn't like to swing the bat here, that didn't like the backdrop, the batter's eye, didn't pick up the ball pretty well. Remember, J.D. Drew used to rake here.
Well, exactly right. They make a great point. Look at the backdrop. It's, you know, the dark green. It's really nice. You see the baseball. It looks very big coming out of that backdrop, and of course you get very friendly dimensions in this ballpark. So it's a really nice place to hit.
Yeah, 318 down the right field line, 333 to left. And as David Ortiz will tell you, when it warms up here, it really carries. Certainly for him, the 3-0. And he walked him on 4 straight. So Xander Bogaerts is on. And that's something Jimenez will do. He will put you on ball 4 if you let him. Your official Big Papi game model last game bat is available for only $129.95. A unique keepsake. Call Big Time Bats at 866-280-BATS or go to BigTimeBats.com right now. Ortiz with a base hit that beat the shifts. A single to right field his first time. .299 road home runs. 7th most in history. Knocks a foul back out of play for strike 1. Back to his home run last night.
Well, last night David Ortiz almost like he was calling his shot. They wanted that ball away. It stays middle, and he takes it up the middle for the home run.
A strike to throw down at first base. Got it. Bogaerts is cut down. He did not get back. Wieters, very alert, came up gunning and got him.
Yeah, that hurts there. You can't make those kind of mistakes. And, you know, Wieters, for a big guy, fairly quick behind the plate, throwing behind Ortiz. And you can see the secondary lead. He got hung out there too long. Did Bogaerts. And those are mistakes you cannot make when you have David Ortiz hit the plate.
And down he goes, swinging a miss for strike 3. And that's all for the Red Sox. In the end, sending only 3 men to hit against Jimenez. Scoreless in the middle of the 3rd. products for the windows and doors they custom make, plus a full line of quality exterior products. Find a location at HarveyBP.com. In Baltimore, no score. We go to the last half of the third innings. Xander Bogaerts cut down at first base moments ago. So the Red Sox lost a base runner there. Schoop will lead things off against Clay Buchholz, who has seen 6 Orioles and struck out 3 of them. Schoop, Wieters, Hardy, bottom third of their order. And Toronto and Seattle are still 1-1 in the 12th inning. A little pop in the shallow center. Pedroia racing out. Bradley coming on. It's going to dump down for a base hit. So Schoop, who has really been scuffling here in the month of September, by far his worst statistical month, gets himself a single.
Change up that time from Buchholz, and not great contact by Schoop, but a good location between Bradley and Dustin Pedroia. Nobody had a chance at that little pop-up.
DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing at DraftKings now. Play free daily using the promo code NESS at DraftKings.com. Here's Wieters, the switch hitter, .237 with 14 home runs. Who's fired the throw down to first base to erase Bogaerts. Xander now all by himself on the left side and creeping in on the grass.
And we mentioned this a lot, but the reason he plays on the grass, now he'll move back with 1 strike, but the reason he starts off on the grass, just in case Wieters decides to drop a bunt down the third base side, he's got at least a chance at it. Now with 1 strike, he doesn't expect the bunt, so they drop him back.
Wieters has never had a lot of fun facing Clay Buchholz, who's 6 for 34 off him. That's 176. J.J. Hardy on deck. Scoreless in the third. Does show bunt, but he'll take a ball.
He sees Bogaerts drop back, so what does he do? He thought about going down that third base side. Now Bogaerts is going to come in and have a little conversation with Buchholz. See Wieters, once Bogaerts drops back deep, he's almost like a sacrifice attempt. He was just trying to drop one right down the third base side but get an inside pitch. Now Bogaerts comes back in.
The 1-1 with Schoop at first base. Drops down the bunt. Leon out from behind him, wants to go to second base and won't get him. Off the glove of Pedroia. And everybody's going to be safe. Sandy Leon elected to go after the runner at second base. He came up empty.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, I'd take the out if I was Leon, and that'd be at first base. He was there in plenty of time. There's Wieters again, trying to go down the third base side. He gets it out in front of the plate, but I think Leon made the mistake of going to second base there. So fundamentally, the Red Sox early in this game making a few mistakes. Bogaerts getting picked off. That decision there by Leon.
And a poor throw to boot. So Schoop at second, Wieters at first. And nobody out for the 9-man, J.J. Hardy, who does have good career numbers off of Clay. He's 8 for 24 with 3 home runs. That is a .333 average.
That's a cat and mouse game there between Bogaerts and Wieters, whether he was going to bunt or not bunt. He ends up dropping one down, and kind of a mental mistake, I think, by Sandy Leon.
Hardy .275, 9 home runs. He'll take ball 1.
That's a pitch Buchholz has to have right there. That's a good fastball in the outside corner, not called a strike.
Plays 6 solid innings his last time out and beating the Yankees 7-4. Here's the 1-0. Now 2-0. This is a 4-game series with the Orioles, and the last one is tomorrow night at 7:05. David Price taking on Chris Tillman, both with 16 wins. The 2-0 pitch. Ball 3. And the Red Sox will be heading for Tampa Bay to take on the Rays, and after that the Yankees. All still to come on this long final road trip. Three balls and no strikes on Hardy with runners at first and second. Taking all the way, and that missed for ball 4. He could not entice him. That was close.
Yeah, that's 2 pitches in that at bat that, in my opinion, should have been called strikes. Take a look at that last pitch, a 3-0 count, and to me, I mean, you'll see clearly that ball's at the bottom of the strike zone. So that the first pitch and the 4th pitch could have been a 2-2 count.
So here comes Jones, who struck out in first inning, but has hit 28 home runs. It's had a quiet series to this point. Baltimore with a man at every base and nobody out. Scope, Wieters, and Hardy. And Buchholz in some trouble and fires in strike 1. Again, Jones with 2 career home runs against Clay Buchholz. And the 0-1 coming. Fly ball into left center field. Benintendi slipped. He's coming on now to make the catch. The runner tags at third, and the throw is a bad one. As Scope easily scores. Boy, a lot of stuff went wrong for the youngster in left field on that play. He slipped initially when making his move to go after the fly ball.
Yeah, and you know, Dent made a terrible throw. I mean, threw it directly into the ground. Benintendi did not get a good jump on this. You'll see on contact what happens out there in left field. He goes back, then he slips, but momentum's still coming in, and he's not very deep. But the throw just directly into the ground, and not even a chance to get the runner. So he was off target on everything right there. He broke back, he slipped, and then the errant throw.
RBI for Jones to make it 1-0 Baltimore. And bring up Hyun-Soo Kim, who's 0 for 1 with a ground ball to second. The Red Sox would love to see another one of those right here as he looks at a strike.
Yeah, one thing that helped Buchholz in his last start against the Yankees was the double play ball. He had a couple of them and certainly could use one here.
Wieters and Hardy aboard with Machado on deck. Buchholz trying to limit them. Kim, a very good hitter in the Korean baseball organization, 318 lifetime. He takes a strike, and quickly it is 0-2.
Now there's one that does go in Buchholz's favor that could have gone the other way. Very inconsistent as Baker early in the game.
And the 0-2 to Kim. On the infield, charging into first baseman Shaw. He'll flip to Clay Buchholz. He stabbed at the bag and got it as the runners advance to second and third. And now there are 2 down.
And a little bit of a stutter step down at first base by Buchholz. There's Shaw making the play. The other hand flip. Buchholz could not find the bag right away. Then looked back and did make the tag. Almost could run over.
So that'll send up Machado, who's 0 for 1 tonight. 2 down, but 2 men in scoring position now for the Orioles, and they lead it 1-0. They're in the 12th inning in Seattle. Toronto 1 and the Mariners 1. Toronto, as of this moment, 4 games behind the Red Sox, and Baltimore 5 back in the AL East. And Clay Buchholz fires in and popped him up. Leon looking for room. He has some. He's there to make the play right on the railing. So Clay Buchholz does indeed limit the damage to 1 run. 1-0 Baltimore. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Back in Baltimore. Orioles on top here 1-0 as we go to the 4th inning. Betts, Shaw, and Hill up against Jimenez. There's walk 2. Red Sox loaded the bases in the 1st inning. Didn't do any damage against him then. Mookie Betts took a walk. Mookie, of course, has hit safely in every game at Camden Yards this season, all 8 games, hitting .561, 8 homers and 15 runs batted in. They cannot wait for him to leave town. Look at all that contact. I think one of the great questions about the rest of his regular season is, will he be a 30-30 man? Including tonight, he's got 11 games left. Line drive to center field. That'll fall down for a base hit. And he does have 24 stolen bases coming into play tonight. Ace Ticket, Boston's trusted source for Red Sox tickets with the best seats at the lowest prices from bleachers to boxes. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS.
There's a chance Betts may be running because, again, Menace is not very quick to home plate. You see the 24 steals on the season for Betts, and without Hanley hitting behind him, that changes it a little bit. You know, a lot of times with Hanley there, you won't run. Does that a lot, does Jimenez, because he does not have a quick move to home plate, so he'll try to make a lot of throws to first base against base stealers.
Shaw came up with his first hit against Jimenez in his last at bat. He'll take a ball here.
That time he used a little bit of a slide step. He didn't have a high leg kick.
As a base runner, could you get a read on a guy whether you were going to go in the very first at bat, first time he reached?
Yeah, I knew, you know now before the game even starts because you watch him on video.
In there for a strike.
I mean, you can see, you just sit down in front of the computer and watch every throw that he makes to home plate and be able to gauge it. Of course, it's different when you get out there, obviously. Like the first pitch, Jimenez used a little bit of a slide step. which is a good thing that Betts did not go on that particular pitch.
Nobody out, a man on, and the 1-1 will not be made as he dives in. TC will be along in just a moment with an update on that Toronto-Seattle game. Aaron Hill on deck. Here comes the 1-1. And he lays off up and away. Remember back about 6 years ago when Jimenez was then a member of the Colorado Rockies, it looked like he was going to win the National League Cy Young. Remember that great start he got off to?
Yep.
He won 14 out of his first 16. First pitcher to do that since Pedro in '99. Count out 3-1. Tossed a no-hitter. Made the All-Star team. In fact, he was the starter for the National League. Back then, he was throwing like 98, 99, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he looked like one of the best in the business and looked like he was going to be that way for a long time.
There goes the runner. Swung on and popped up. It's Jimenez giving chase, and a foul ground. He can't make the play.
Well, I'll tell you what, both teams right now, this is not a classic instructional video so far. They're in the shift, so really Jimenez is the only guy that could get to that. You know, that's a very difficult play for a pitcher coming off the mound. Ball lands behind him, so that's a break for Travis Shaw and a break for the Red Sox.
No play, no error charged to Jimenez, but a break indeed. Yeah, this has not been a thing of beauty.
No, not so far
on either side. 3-2. There goes Mookie again. Swung on and this, struck him out. The throw off of Betts, and it caroms into left field. He's up and running. He's going to get there. He's into third, standing up. So the shaky play continues, but the Red Sox benefit here. We'll look at that when we come back. Time for a game break, brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store, the Boston Red Sox. Here's TC. Oh, Tom, you love that magic number talk indeed. Red Sox can also push Toronto to 5 games back if they win this ball game. And here's Hill, runner at third base on the stolen base by Mookie Betts, and he took third on the error.
Yeah, Mookie, you know, the ball hits Betts and footed it, had no idea where it was. Then he picks it up out in left field and decides to move on to third. So big play for the Red Sox there, the stolen base and the gift to get Betts to third base. Infield back.
Cross for a strike on Hill. He hit the little dribbler with the bases loaded in the first inning. Then Machado scooped up and tossed on to first to get him and retire the side. Travis Shaw just struck out a moment ago.
That same little dribbler right now would get Betts home and tie the score.
1-0 Orioles here in the fourth. Knocked down by Wieters, who's been busy back there with all those splitters.
He knows, you know, when Jimenez is on the mound, he's going to have a busy night because he throws an awful lot of them. Catchers expect that ball to be down in the dirt. Good play there to save a run. I think he's going to the slider.
And away to make it 3-1. Good count here for Hill. That ground ball should do the trick here. Hardy and Scope up the middle, backed up. Machado behind third base, and the 3-1. Declared foul. Hill has been a good fly ball guy in his career. Trying to pick up this run from third base with less than 2 out. Jimenez takes a sign from Wieters, and the 3-2. And a choppy swing, and he fouls it away.
Boy, if ever there was a swing. Is that catcher's interference?
It was catcher's interference on the swing on Wieters, and Hill will be given first base.
You know, I thought originally Hill just got beat by a fastball there, like he was looking for something off speed. But apparently he got the glove of Wieters. Let's take another look.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it did. It did get the glove. No wonder the swing looked like it was in slow motion. Just tipping the glove of Matt Wieters. So, of course, he's awarded first base for that.
And the catcher is charged with an error. So it'll be first and third for Jackie Bradley. A break for the Red Sox again. Had a couple of them here in the early innings. Jackie 0 for 1. He's popped foul to the catcher. He ripped a home run out of here last night, number 26. Into the dirt for ball one. You and I were talking about Jackie before the game and thinking, you know, the magic number of 100 RBIs is a possibility for him.
Yeah, 87 coming into the game tonight. 26 home runs. I mean, the 3,100 is certainly a possibility.
First and third, one down, and way too high.
And that's the point we were making too in the open. The fact that, you know, one of the reasons the Red Sox lead everybody in runs scored is the fact they're getting production from the bottom of the batting order, and this is one of the main reasons right here, whether he's hitting 7th, 8th, or 9th in the lineup.
Yeah, it's the depth that everyone talks about in this Red Sox lineup. Jackie with a home run last night means that in his Red Sox career, when he hits a home run, the Sox are 33-5. So good luck charm to boot. The 2-0. Stopped again by Wieters. So the count runs to 3-0 with one down, runners at first and third. Red Sox are trailing at the moment 1-0.
I green light Jackie on this. I really would. I don't know if he'll be swinging, but I'd give him the green light. He's got to throw a splitter too on a 3-0 count. He was expecting the green light, so he throws a split-fingered fastball just to get a strike.
Jackie's home run last night, the 4th in 11 games against Baltimore. The 3-1. And he walks him. So the bases are going to be loaded for the second time in 4 innings for the Red Sox. And Sandy Leon has been scuffling with the bat. So kind of coming up to hit here with one away.
You know, it almost looked like Jimenez there was pitching around Bradley, trying to get him to chase something bad, that's for sure. But he'd rather take his chances, I think, in this situation with Leon.
Sandy 0 for 9 in the series, 0 for his last 14, looking to break out right here. He's been awfully good this season with men in scoring position. And there's no place to put him. That runs in and almost got him for ball one. Jimenez throughout his career has a tendency to get incredibly wild. He drills in a strike at 88.
The first 2 pitches, fastballs to San Leon. One inside, one outside. Outside corner, I should say.
Bases loaded, Betts at third, representing the tying run. Hard ground ball. Davis with the stab into second, got an out, back to first, and a double play. Well, anything but that, right? Sandy Leon hits into the twin killing, and the Red Sox, for the second time tonight with the bases loaded, cannot score. sliding stab.
Yeah, nice play by Davis at first base. That ball's hit very hard. He goes right down with it. And watch J.J. Hardy as he takes his time. The overhand throw, a nice straight fastball to Jimenez, who's covering first base doing his job. Now he's a little bit late getting over there. That's why Hardy hesitated for a second, but they still got time to get Leone. Red Sox a couple of great opportunities in this game.
It remains 1-0 Baltimore to the bottom of the 4th inning, and Davis was struck out. Trumbo next, and then Alvarez. Red Sox with 3 hits. The Orioles only have 1. That was the Scope single. Little blooper into center field, and he wound up scoring moments later. Clay has tossed 6 career shutouts, and 3 of them are against the Baltimore Orioles. They gave up that 3rd inning run to fall behind 1-0. And that's up top for ball 3. Davis's next home run will be his 200th as a member of the Orioles. Right now he's 8th all time on their home run list. Called strike to make it 3-1.
Yeah, very careful too on that 3-0 count, keeping that fastball away from Davis. He's looking for something middle in that he can drive out of the ballpark, and Buchholz goes to the outside corner.
Trumbo, the on deck man, and the 3-1. And it's in tight for ball 4, so he walks him. Second walk issued by Clay Buchholz tonight. Don't miss W.B. Mason Extra Innings Live right after the game. TC Tim Wakefield and Steve Lyons will break it all down. You'll hear from Clay Buchholz and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but W.B. Mason. Trumbo 0 for 1, a grounder to the shortstop. He has had some season for the Orioles. I think everybody expected him to hit home runs, but not make a run like this. These are new career highs for him, the home runs and the 102 RBIs. Selected to the All-Star team for the 2nd time in his career. Buchholz from the belt, the 1-0. Well outside. And the Red Sox from their dugout can look out to that scoreboard, and they know that Toronto has lost, getting some help finally from Seattle. Mariners trying to hang in a wild card race themselves. They pulled out the win in extra innings tonight against the Blue Jays. The 2-0. Fly ball center field. Didn't crush it though. Jackie has it lined up. That's out number 1.
That's a good pitch by Buchholz. See, he's down on the count, 2 balls and no strikes, and you know that Trumbo is just sitting on a fastball, but he didn't get one. He got the cut fastball instead, and that little cut right at the end is the difference of that ball staying in the ballpark. And you can see the frustration. Trumbo flipping the bat after contact. I mean, that cut at the end of that pitch just kept the ball off the barrel of the bat.
One of the reasons he's frustrated is the Red Sox have really tied him up in this series. He's 1 for 10. Red Sox taking games 1 and 2. Here's Alvarez now. He struck out looking in the 7th. That'll be strike 1. 251 for the former Pirate. Did a lot of home runs for Pittsburgh back in the day. He signed him to a 1-year deal in March. He's hit 132 home runs since the start of the 2012 season. Always had good power. Socks that one foul.
And Dave, we often talk about the game within a game, and last inning was a great example when they walked Bradley. You know, Bradley was in command of the count, but they were not going to give him anything to hit. They eventually walk him. They get to Leone, who's a struggling hitter. And even though Sandy hit the ball hard, it ends up being a double play. Red Sox don't score. So you pitch around Bradley, you take your chances with Leone.
Those are finding holes for Sandy the last 3 months. Routinely. Not on that play, though. It just misses, barely off the corner.
Yeah, Buckles shaking his head. He's kind of wondering, when am I going to get a close one? And especially on that side of the plate.
Young umpire Jordan Baker behind the plate tonight. Runner at first, 1 out, and the 1-2. Another one that barely missed, but that one obviously off the corner, and the count 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, frustration by Buckles, but that ball's not a strike. That ball was inside. The one before was closer.
Scope on deck. 1-0 Orioles. Play looking for a ground ball. He gets one, but foul. Diving attempt by Shaw, but foul off the chalk line.
Shaw, who's holding the runner on first base. Of course, once the pitch is made, you take a little crow hops, take a step towards second, as you can see there. Then he's going to go back. But fortunately, that ball in foul territory. Bounce off the bag, and then you've got to be very careful of the ball that's hit between you and the line.
Two and 2 on Alvarez. He's their DH tonight. Ball filled up now. Alvarez had some run back at the end of July. He hit 6 home runs in a 5-game span. Very streaky.
Cut fastball.
Davis at first, and the 3-2. Popped up off third. Leon charging hard near the dugout, and he makes the play. Really nice play. You don't see catchers run that far very often, and he hauls it in to get Alvarez.
Well, 2 really nice pitches by Buckholz. This is a fine play here by Leon. He's just going toward the Red Sox dugout. You say, why Leon? Because they were in a shift, and nobody else could get there. He had to go a long way to make that catch. That's a very fine play by Sandy Leon. But 2 big pitches by Buckholz. One to Trumbo, a cut fastball on a 2-0 count, and that cut it to Alvarez right there to get that foul ball out.
Scope 1 for 1, and he has scored their run tonight. 1-0 Orioles, 4th inning. Sox will let Benintendi, Pedroia, Bogarts due up come the 5th. That sneaks in there for strike 1. Scope has had an excellent season with 24 homers, 77 runs batted in. Those are career highs, but hitting in the 160s here in September. Davis still glued to first base with 2 down. That's a bullet. Bradley gets it on 1 bounce. Davis can only advance to second and stop there. But Scope is 2 for 2, maybe coming out of his skin.
Yeah, he was only 1 for 10 against Buckholz coming into the game, but 2 hits, 1 on a changeup back in the 3rd inning. This time he gets his hands on top of a high fastball and hits it very hard to center field. You see the location of this pitch. It's up in the zone, but up go the hands also of Jonathan Scope, and he gets on top of it for the line drive.
That'll bring up Wieters, who does not have a hit in the series. He is 0 for 8 and 0 for his last 12. One of the issues with this Oriole team, and one of the reasons they are now 5 games back, they have a number of guys who have been going south offensively. First and second, 2 away. And a high fly ball to right field, but a lazy fly, and Betts is right there. And Buckholz again gets out of it. He strands 2, still 1-0 Sox. 1-0 Orioles over the Boston Red Sox. The season stop is only on NESN. 3 days of nonstop celebrating at Fenway. Don't miss a minute. It's the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, Friday, September 30 through Sunday, October 2nd, only on NESN. Orioles in front here, 1-0 in the 5th. Benintendi, Pedroia, Bogaerts up against Jimenez. He's had a bit of a charmed life so far. Red Sox on 2 occasions have loaded up the bases and not scored. Benintendi 0 for 1. He struck out in the 2nd. Got jammed there, and he knocks a foul for a strike. Benintendi with a 5-game hitting streak. He has doubled in 4 consecutive games. Lately getting a lot of extra base hits. The 0-2. That's in there for strike 3. Right at the bottom of the zone to get him.
Let's go back to last inning, and Buchholz getting 3 outs for throwing anything straight. He gets a 2-0 count. You see the cut fastball. It goes toward the end of the bat of Trumbo, the power hitter. Another cut fastball inside to Alvarez that he pops up, and then a changeup that goes away from Wieters to get the 3 outs. So he gets 3 outs, 3 big outs in that inning without throwing a straight pitch.
Pedroia 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly to right. So far only 5 hits in the game. The Red Sox have 3. Jimenez with the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Wow. That's another pitch that should have been called a strike right there. Fastball on the outside corner.
He knocks that foul back off into the stands. And probably somewhere in the same range as last night's crowd. 20 to 21,000.
Looks a little bit bigger tonight, doesn't it? Maybe just a tad.
6 or 7. Rounded right to the third baseman. A friendly bounce from Machado. 2 up and 2 down. The most popular way to follow the Red Sox postseason push is with MLB.com at bat. Enjoy game day, live game video, and more. Visit MLB.com at bat on your favorite devices right now. Bogaerts will be next. A strikeout and a walk, and he was also picked off at first base by the catcher Wieters. Jimenez came in with an ERA near 6. And over 7 lifetime against Boston.
Red Sox have let him off the hook a couple of times. Bases loaded situations. First inning, 4th inning.
Ortiz on deck, the 1-0. Nobody on base and a 2-0. He looks at a strike at 87.
It's a good take by Bogaerts. 2-0, looking middle in. The fastball's on the outside part of the plate. Not one that he wants to swing at in that situation.
Fouls that one away to even the count of 2-2. Xander leading the American League with 76 2-strike hits. Trying to get on right now in front of Big Papi. The 2-2. He waves and misses strike 3. And a breezy inning for Jimenez. He retires the Red Sox 1-2-3. Presented by Foxwoods Resort Casino, premieres at the second annual Globe Docs Film Festival. That's during Hub Week, Wednesday, September 28th, 7 p.m. at Fenway. For tickets, go to globe.com/Ortiz. Kids under 12 are free. You can also catch the debut on NESN that same night after the Red Sox-Yankees game. Hardy to lead off the last half of the fifth inning, a 1-0 Oriole lead. And then it'll be Jones and Kim. Clay Buchholz has been very good so far. He did walk Hardy in the third inning when they got the only run of the game. And he pops a foul out of play. Red Sox trying to win the first 3 games of this series, with Price going tomorrow night. And again, that figures to be a low scoring affair. Price against Tillman. David at 16-8. Bruce Tillman 16-6. The 0-2 to Hardy.
Now this becomes a very big game for the Red Sox. Obviously, they are all big at this stage, but you know, when you have Toronto already losing today, you can put the Orioles another game back. This will be a big one tonight.
Toronto losing in extra innings in Seattle. As this one was getting underway, that game went to extra innings. Here's the 1-2. And a fastball missing. Hardy's been one of their hotter hitters since he came back from a fractured foot back in July, hitting .298 his last 69 games. The 2-2. Another full count.
A couple of times tonight, about 3 times, Clay's overthrown that fastball like that, just kind of yanking it down away from those right-handers. He's obviously trying to pick up the outside corner with it, but it's getting away from him.
And a payoff pitch to Hardy, who's already taken ball 4. Up the middle. Pedroia and Bogarts. Bogarts with it, throws and gets it. So Xander with the play for out number 1. Red Sox season ticket holders, you can experience the best seats, price, and benefits Fenway has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, please visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877 Red Sox 9 today.
Bogarts covering the ground, going to his left, and then the sidearm flip to first base. Throws a strike to Travis Shaw right about neck high. Oh, excuse me. Buchholz almost backhanded that ball. I was glad to see it get by him without making contact.
1 away. Adam Jones now. He has struck out. He's also driven in a run with a sacrifice.
Leon wasn't sure what Buchholz wanted to throw. He put down a sign and he put another one down, so he was unclear, so he calls timeout. Let's see what they go with. Cut fastball, 3 fingers. It's been a good pitch for him so far in this game tonight. When you're watching at home, you know, he's pretty easy with nobody on base. 1's the fastball, 3's the cutter, 2's the curveball. The wiggle is his changeup.
I always wonder about the wiggle.
Fastball inside.
And the 0-1 to Jones. That one ate him up.
That's a good pitch. That's a good 2-seam fastball right there by Buchholz. You see the late movement on this as it dips down and in to Adam Jones. Not much straight out of the hand of Clay tonight. Shakes off the curveball, wants to go back inside with the fastball.
0-2. Foul away.
Got away with one right there. Didn't get it quite far enough in. Fortunately, gets the foul ball.
Well, as we've said many times, not every mistake a pitcher makes gets hit out of the ballpark.
That's for sure.
Jones is number 6 all time on the Orioles home run list with 221.
And he wants the fastball, but he wants it up and in.
Got a piece again.
I think you can follow along at home now with me.
All right, so here's the test.
Yeah, you call it at home. See if you get it this time. I won't tell you.
Change up. Gonna be a change up. 0-2 and a ground ball up the middle for a base hit. So Jones is on for the first time tonight with a single.
Yeah, they tried to change his eye level. They wanted fastballs up a couple of pitches ago. They did that. They tried to go back down with the changeup, but good hitting right there by Jones as he takes it up the middle for the base hit. There's the changeup grip from Buchholz. Leaves it a little bit higher than he would have liked to have had it. Like to have that down below the knees.
Now Hyun-Soo Kim, who has grounded out twice, 1 away and a man on. 1-0 Baltimore here in the 5th. Able to check his swing there on a pitch downstairs.
Not even close to being a swing that time.
Machado would be next. And a 1-0 to Kim. Foul away.
That's a great shot we had, that last shot of Lovello and Leon. Leon's looking in the dugout for signs, but he's not looking for pitches. He's looking whether they want Buchholz to throw to first base, whether they want to pitch out. This offense doesn't do very much as far as running goes with the power they have in it, but you'll see Sandy Leon come down and look right over and get the signs right there from Torey Lovello. And that's basically whether he wants to pick off a tap at first base or a pitch out.
Jones not running, flared foul out of play.
A lot of times fans see that and you think, well, they're calling the pitches from the bench. No, that's not the case at all. They're calling a situation from the bench.
Toss over, back in on his feet, Jones. Now the game within the game, which is so very fascinating. The 1-2 to Kim. 2-2.
They like to do with Kim when they get 2 strikes, try to elevate that fastball. He has a tendency to chase that pitch. Had a notion that time.
Kim won a batting title in the Korean baseball organization.
Back to the cut fastball.
The 2-2. High fly ball into right center field. Giving chase, Jackie Bradley all the way to the warning track in there to make the play. Back to first base is Jones, and 2 men are out.
Now you said it, Dave. Not all mistakes are hit out of the ballpark, and that was a cut fastball on time that stayed over the heart of the plate. Good pitch to hit. Kim put a pretty good charge into it, but it becomes an out. He wanted that ball inside and stayed out over. Good, right in the sweet spot for Kim, but not enough.
Stay tuned for a Red Sox final presented by Plainridge Park Casino. TC Tim Wakefield and Steve Lyons will update the American League playoff races. And the Sox hoping to gain on both Baltimore and Toronto. They can do that with a win here tonight and push Toronto 5 back and Baltimore 6 back. But right now it's 1-0 Orioles. Is Machado. He's had a quiet series to this point. Down to first with the throw, but will not get it. Diving back in Jones.
You see that a lot from Leone. He likes to throw to first base, and he generally does it on a high pitch because he's coming out of his crouch, and he's in a pretty good position to make that throw on a pickoff attempt. Watch him come up out of the crouch on the high fastball. Good position to throw. Those are the ones he likes to try to pick that man off first base.
The 1-0 to Machado. He's 0 for 8 in the series. But 36 homers, 93 runs batted in for the 24-year-old. And he's hit 71 homers over the last 2 years. Nothing.
Got to be very careful with this pitch against Machado, even though Davis is on deck. Machado's got that home run power. He may have the green light.
Jones leading off first base, a tiny lead, and the 3-0. He does get the green light. He pops it up, and Bogarts is there, and that will retire the side. Machado with the pop-up, still 1-0 Baltimore. Outside New England, you can watch NESN's 2 David Ortiz documentaries on DirecTV, Dish, Uverse, Bright House, Frontier, Time Warner, and Fios. Presented by Foxwoods Resort Casino. Check NESN.com/national for channel listings and NESN National availability. Big Papi in. He has singled and struck out. 1-0 Baltimore. As he bluffs a bunt, pulled it away in time, and it's ball 1.
I think the Orioles would like to see that. Maybe he's dropping a bunt down to third base instead of swinging away.
You think?
In a 1-0 game.
He's hit 6 home runs in his last 9 games against Baltimore. By the way, still no official plans by the Orioles, nothing that they have announced to honor David Ortiz in this last trip to Baltimore. Virtually every other team has. Atlanta hasn't, did not. When the Red Sox were there, they're the only team so far. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Most home runs in the final season of a career. David passing Dave Kingman last night. Betts on deck and the 3-0. And he walks him. So the Red Sox have the leadoff man on for the second consecutive inning. And let's go down to Guerin.
OB, I talked to hitting coach Chili Davis about Mookie Betts being the first player in 2016 with 200 hits, and he said that it's pretty awesome. He said that's a plateau that not too many guys get to, and it's very reachable for Betts to do it again. He said that Betts puts in a lot of work with him, as well as assistant hitting coach Victor Rodriguez, and to watch a guy take it into a game and use it consistently, he said it's like a father watching his son go from Little League to the majors. Davis said he's having a great season, and he's extremely proud of him. Guys?
31 homers, 108 RBIs, 200 hits, closing in on 30 stolen bases.
You know what a pleasure it has to be a coach and work with a guy that is so receptive to all the information.
We've documented this all season. He is the most curious player on the ball club. Another one that misses here to make it 2 balls and no strikes after he just walked Big Papi on 4 straight. And one of the things that he's always asking about, does a lot of baseball etiquette questions, like if the Red Sox have a 5-run lead, say it's the 6th inning, is it right for me to steal a base?
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot. He asks a lot of questions like that to Torey Lovello, and you know he's always trying to learn something.
2-0 pitch dropped in for a strike. Brock now warming up in their bullpen. He's been a really busy guy. He pitches a ton for Showalter. Strike 2. Jimenez pitching line brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. Now walk 4 men. Come back to make it 2-2 on Mookie, who has walked and singled. Hot shot, base hit. Ortiz to second and stopping there. Another multi-hit game for Mookie Betts as the beat goes on.
Now 3 times he's been on a walk, 2 hits now, a stolen base in the game. Kind of surprising that Jimenez threw him so many fastballs in that at bat. I mean, he's been throwing all kind of stuff all night, not many fastballs. But there he gets the 2-seamer inside, and of course Betts will clean that pitch out.
Mookie last night getting to 200 hits. The only other Red Sox player to reach 200 hits before turning 24, Johnny Pesky in 1942. Runners at first and second for Travis Shaw, who has singled and struck out tonight. Red Sox down a run in the 6th inning. They've had some great chances against Jimenez. They have yet to cash in. But now Shaw seeing him for the 3rd time in the ball game. And look at strike 1.
The Red Sox have been frustrated a couple of times in this game. Let's see if they can make it happen here in the 6th inning with a couple of men on, nobody out.
Flared foul back to the net to make it 0-2.
Surprised again. You know, it looked like the fastball's 90. And I think it surprised Shaw because he's been throwing so much junk up at the home plate, you know, off-speed pitches. When he throws the fastball, he was a little bit behind that. I don't think he expected it.
Into the dirt, scooped again by Wieters, who's really had a fine night back there. He's had to.
Yeah, that one a nice backhanded play to keep 2 men out of scoring position. Slide it down in the dirt, and looks like a first baseman on that.
Jimenez has made 2 previous starts this season against the Red Sox, only lasted 5 in each one. And here in the 6th inning, a walk and a single with nobody out.
Well, you noticed the number of signs thrown down by Wieters with that man at second base. For those who may have not seen a lot of baseball, you throw multiple signs down.
And that's going to be in there for strike 3. That frozen. And Shaw caught looking for out number 1.
It's almost like the Red Sox are surprised to get a fastball. And here's a fastball again. They elevate a little bit just above the belt and pick up the strikeout against Travis Shaw.
So that'll do it for Jimenez. Showalter will not test that any further tonight, and he'll go to the bullpen. His call to the pen brought to you by Kia. 1-0 Orioles. Back with more in a moment. Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. The often used right-hander Brad Brock out of their bullpen. He was an all-star this year. They use him just about every day. First pitch in there for a strike on Hill. Runners at first and second with one gone. This is his 67th appearance. First time all-star. Leads the majors with 10 victories as a relief pitcher. He's been outstanding for them. And Hill lays off down and in. He is grounded out. He's also reached on catcher's interference.
It's kind of tough to pick the baseball up against Brock. He's got that jerky delivery to home plate.
Ortiz at second and Betts at first with one gone. And a swinging bunt. It'll be tough to handle. Some confusion on that. The throw and safe. And the bases are going to be loaded again for the Red Sox. We mentioned it earlier. It has not been a defensive clinic tonight. And they had an opportunity for an out, certainly at first base, and didn't get it.
Yeah, I think they made the right decision, though, by letting Wieters try this because his momentum is going toward first base. He calls off the pitcher, but then he was very slow to get to the baseball. You know, I watch it again, and maybe Brock did have a better chance than Wieters. Good hustle down the line by Hill. They're looking at it. See if they're going to challenge it. Looks like he said, I don't know.
We take a look.
Tough to see the umpires in the way on that particular shot there. Still waiting.
Well, this is taking forever.
Yeah, I don't. Well, they're going to pass.
Let's see if we give you another angle on this.
I think he did beat it. Looked like the foot, the toe got on there before it got into the glove of Davis.
So that's going to be a base hit. And the bases are loaded up for the third time for the Red Sox tonight. To this point, they have been frustrated, but here's Jackie Bradley. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. And he takes ball 1.
Little different velocity here. 95 on that last fastball compared to 88, 89, 90 that they've been seeing in the previous at-bats.
1 man out. Ortiz the tying run at third. That'll be ball 2. Red Sox had the bases loaded in the first inning, but Hill grounded out to end that threat. Bases loaded in the fourth inning with 1 down. Leon hit into a double play to end that one. And Jackie lays off again, and that's going to be ball 3, very close to the corner. But no one's getting that call tonight.
No, it's the same location too. It's the catcher's right side.
Ortiz, Betts, Hill, all filled up, and a 3-0 pitch. And he takes a strike. Jackie last night with home run number 26. He smoked it out to right center. The 3-1. 3-2.
Completely surprised there, expecting a fastball. Instead, he gets the very hard slider. Ball not a strike, down and in, but Jackie expected the fastball in that count. Didn't get it.
Brock with a long look in, picks one out. And the 3-2 to Jackie. Down he goes, strike 3. 97 on the gun. 2 down.
I'll tell you, he dialed it up a little bit. The 3-1 count, he goes to a slider, then back to a fastball at 97 away. Nasty pitch on the outside part of the plate.
So that brings up the Red Sox catcher, Sandy Leon, desperate for a hit. He has struck out, hit into a double play in this one. And 0 for his last 15. Trying to come through with 2 down. He looks at ball 1.
The Red Sox got away with one there. Sandy Leon did. That was a good pitch. Bottom of the strike zone. Another look.
1-0 Baltimore here in the 6th inning, and the 1-0 home. Foul back. A ball and a strike on Sandy. Benintendi would be next. It's the second time tonight that Sandy has gotten in. The base is jammed. This time with 2 down. 1 and 2.
This stuff has been filthy from Brock.
That'll bring the Oriole crowd to their feet in a key spot. The right-hander takes a sign, and the 1-2. David Ortiz began the inning with a walk. Mookie Betts with a base hit after Shaw struck out. He'll beat out the infield single, but then Jackie Bradley struck out on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 2-2 on Sandy Leon. Ground ball trickled there to Davis. He'll scoop it up, throw, and he threw it away! Ortiz is in to score. Here comes Betts right behind him, and the Red Sox have the lead. A misfire by Davis.
Wow.
A cross-body throw to nowhere land.
No, he threw an absolute seed to the pitcher trying to cover first. I mean, this should be the 3rd out of the inning. Little tap. You can see he's got it at plenty of time. Now watch his throw. I mean, he just fires it. across his body, and that's almost impossible for the pitcher to get a glove on.
An error on Davis, and the Red Sox are handed a 2-1 lead. These days in September, they have been taking advantage of the other guy's mistakes.
Well, you know, that is a finesse play for Davis because he's charging the ball, and you've got to kind of time your throw to first base a little bit. You can't be throwing a seed over there like he does. Sidearm. It had some juice on it, about 97, and not even close to being in the glove of Brock covering first base. So a huge, huge break in this game.
That might have been harder than any fastball that Brock has thrown in this inning.
I'll tell you, that was, and you could see it too as soon as he let it go.
Red Sox with a break. Here's Benintendi with runners at second and third. Leone and Hill. And that one sucked to right field, headed for the wall, deep to right field, and that ball is out of here. It's gone. Benintendi crushing one, and the Red Sox open it up. His second major league home run. We talk about taking advantage of the other guy's mistakes. A bullet by Benintendi, and the Red Sox lead it 5-1.
Benintendi jumps all over a first pitch fastball. I mean, you talk about a quick swing, and you're talking about a guy that's throwing 95 to 97 miles an hour. Obviously a little bit frustrated. First pitch, 94. Didn't have exactly the same velocity on it, and Benintendi out front of it.
Pedroia fouls one back, 0 for 3 tonight. Speedway proud to be New England's first choice for value and convenience for every Red Sox homer. Speedway donates to Boston Children's Hospital. Stop by a Speedway near you and pick up your free Speedy Rewards card and start earning points today. The rookie with a 3-run shot.
And this one here was absolutely crushed. I mean, it didn't get out by a lot, but it was a line shot.
That is a sweet swing. The 1-1. Rattle to third. And Machado slings it on to get him. A huge error by Davis with the bases loaded. Then a huge hit by Benintendi. Leading on this one here at Camden Yards for his second major league home run. Red Sox on top 5-1. Time for the Keep It Moving moment, brought to you by Old Dominion.
Now, Benintendi, everybody's head was down for the Orioles because of the mistake. Well, they got heads back up in a hurry watching this ball get back out of the ballpark.
Old Dominion helping the world keep promises. A wicked line drive for 3-run shot to open a 5-1 lead here in the 6th inning for Clay Buchholz. But so many guys contributing to the cause for the Red Sox. You're talking about Hill and his hustle play.
Yeah, hustling down that first baseline. You know, instead of making it out, you get to first base. So, I mean, a lot of little things, but, you know, the air just came out of the Orioles after that ground ball was thrown away by Davis.
With the bases loaded, should have ended it.
Should have been the end of the inning.
So the Red Sox pouncing after that mistake. Well, they did it against Sabathia, and have been doing it regularly here this month. Taking full advantage. So now Clay Buchholz with some wiggle room. Benintendi with a gorgeous swing. Just perfect. So Hanley all smiles with the night off to this point. And the Red Sox up by 4. That one socked into center field. Jackie Bradley with room though. And Davis is 0 for 2. Attention, Red Sox Nation, is a reason why the Red Sox and the rest of America run on Dunkin'. Because Dunkin's iced coffee is consistently smooth and delicious. Dunkin' Donuts coffee, the #1 coffee in New England. The Boston Red Sox run on Dunkin'. And Buchholz to take on Trumbo. He's got twice on a ground ball to the shortstop and a fly to center. Once again, the Red Sox with a big home run. David Ortiz breaking open a close game last night. And tonight, Benintendi does it. Alvarez on deck. And the 0-1 from Clay Buchholz. Another fly ball left center field, kind of a lazy fly, and there's Jackie to put that one away. 2 up and 2 down.
You know, Dave, for Clay Buchholz, earlier this season, he was taken out of the rotation. And he was probably the lowest he has been as a baseball player at that particular time. And I remember sitting with him in the dugout here in Baltimore back at that time. And we had a little chat, you know, and kind of talked about how a little bit about baseball and how things are going. And he was really down. And, you know, I said to myself, you know, maybe, but you never know what happens in this game. It's crazy. By the end of the season, you could be back in the rotation pitching in a big game or pitching in the World Series. Well, he's pitching in a big game tonight, and he's pitching pretty darn good.
Yeah, you must have known something.
Well, you just kind of had a feeling, didn't you?
So Uncle Jerry just sits down and says, hey,
well,
kid, you know.
I don't like to do that stuff. I really don't. It's not my position to do it. I'm not a coach.
Ground ball into the shift, and Pedroia digs it from the grass and gets him. Well, he's sailing along here tonight. He gets him 1, 2, 3, and it's 5-1 Red Sox at the end of 6. Preview of the Patriots game tomorrow night against the Texans. Plus a report from the Bruins' last captain's practice of the offseason. NESN Sports Today presented by People's United Bank. Sox in front 5-1. All of the runs are unearned after that huge error by Davis with the bases loaded. New pitcher is Oliver Drake, making his 11th appearance at the big league level. They called him up from AAA at the end of August. Big time strikeout guy in the minor leagues. It'll be Bogarts, Ortiz, and Betts. Ortiz recently had an encounter with Drake that certainly went David's way. Xander tonight with a couple of strikeouts and a walk, and fouls that one away.
Drake is directly over the top, isn't he, with that fastball, split-fingered fastball.
Seventh inning in Baltimore. If you missed it, Seattle in extra innings beat Toronto 2-1. So if the Sox win this game, they will have a 5-game lead over Toronto, 6 over Baltimore, with 10 games left to be played. Red Sox trying to go to 88-64 and win their 7th in a row. Xander with 20 home runs, flicks that one foul right past David Ortiz in the on-deck circle.
You know, getting back to that conversation with Buckholz, you know, as I said, I'm not a coach and I'm not a guy that, you know, likes to interfere, but I felt so strongly because I've been around the guy for a long time and I've never seen him so down, and I'm sure he's hearing from everybody, but he was very gracious. You know, I went up to him and I said, you mind? Let's sit on a bench, we talk a little bit, chat, you know. So we did. We had a nice chat. Tried to remind him a little bit about how good he has been, and you know how crazy this game is and how things can turn around in a hurry for you. And he took his demotion to the bullpen. He took it very well, I thought. You know, as good as you can.
Sure. Yep.
Made it work for him. Who knows what's going to bring the rest of the season? You know, and I said to him, I said, you may be out there for the 7th game of the World Series. You don't know. You know, it's just baseball players go through this all the time. Well, pitching in a big game in September.
Hardy with the scoop, and Bogarts retired. Sox fans looking for the best seats to the biggest games. Check out the official Red Sox ticket resale marketplace at RedSoxReplay.com. Best place for season ticket holders to sell their tickets when they can't make it to the game. And don't you think part of what you reminded Clay is it's a really long season?
Yeah, you know, and like I said, I'm not taking credit for anything, that's for sure, but I felt very strongly. I've been through quite a bit myself. And I felt like it was maybe a fresh voice to hear, maybe.
Sure. Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And you know, I give him credit, man. He went out, did what he had to do, and pitching a very good ball game here tonight.
Went out to that bullpen and changed a lot of things. Became more efficient, I think. Working out of the stretch has done wonders for him. Ortiz with a single, a strikeout, a walk, and a run. Came into play tonight, trailing Encarnacion by 2 in the RBIs. They rank 1-2 in the American League, so he can win an RBI crown at the age of 40. Last night became the 3rd Red Sox hitter with as many as 4 120 RBI seasons. Ted Williams did it 7 times. Jim Rice on 4 occasions. And the 1-2. Trying to hold up, swing and a miss, and down he goes, strike 3.
It's a totally different look you get from Drake. I mean, you're talking directly over the top, and there's what looks to be a rising fastball. And Ortiz could not hold up. Well, it's interesting. A pitch like that comes directly over the top, you expect it to be coming down to you. That one just stayed upstairs, and David couldn't check the swing.
Mookie Betts with a pair of hits tonight, along with his 25th stolen base. He also scored another run. Been on base 3 times, a walk and the 2 hits. Still leading the majors in total bases. 2 down and a bounding ball to third, and Machado right there. And that'll be all for the Red Sox. 1-2-3 in the 7th. Red Sox 5 and Baltimore 1. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. The 2017 Kia Sportage. Visit anykiadealers.com to learn more. Sullivan Tire and Complete Auto Service. And by Subaru Retailers of New England. The fans have had their stretch. Red Sox in the lead 5-1 as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Clay Buchholz trying to go deep into this contest. Very strong in his last outing. His pitching line brought to you by Ace Tick against the Yankees. He went 6, allowing 2 runs. He allowed only 1 run tonight back in the 3rd inning. Facing a guy who has given him some trouble tonight. Scope is 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. He deals him strike 1.
That's been a good pitch for Buchholz tonight. That cut fastball. Start Scope off with the cutter.
Bottom 3rd of the order here for the Orioles. Wieters and Hardy after him. And the 0-1. High fly but foul out of play. Red Sox have an active bullpen. Noe Ramirez and Brad Ziegler now throwing side by side. John Farrell can get 7 out of Clay Buchholz tonight.
Just in case, though, he's got a couple of guys loosening for the 7th.
Red Sox trying to win their 7th in a row, which would be a season high. Waved at and missed. Down he goes. Strike 3. Puts away Scope.
Yeah. That's nice right there. You know, again, nothing straight. Cut fastball, changeup, followed by the curveball.
Let's go down to Guerin.
Thanks, Opie. In his final season, David Ortiz is still one of the top hitters in baseball, and now you can get free text alerts to let you know every time he is coming up to bat, along with advance notice of his farewell celebrations on the road and special Poppy programs coming up on NESN. Just text Poppy to 536-536. All this made possible by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's websites for deals. Message and data rates may apply. Opie, back to you.
All right, Guerin, thank you very much. Wieters, the batter. He's gone 0 for 2. Buchholz got the first man. Shaw at first base is backed up behind the bag near the line. As they play Wieters as a pull hitter from this side. Here comes the 0-1. Well, the Red Sox by and large continue to get really fine starting pitching. Porcello with an 89 pitch absolute gem in this series. Rodriguez was terrific into the 7th inning yesterday. And now Clay Buchholz against a very good lineup has allowed only 3 hits.
But Dave, you know, we always talk about the offense in this club, and of course it's a great offense. But you know, we had the highlight we showed you from the All-Star break and what the Red Sox have done on the road, and you do that with good pitching. That's how you win on the road, and that's what the Red Sox have done, especially since the All-Star break. That's why they have that winning record on the road.
And now the Sox overall at 41 and 32 on the road. And the starters have been a big part of that since the break, that road success. Red Sox with the best road record in the American League. Here's the 3-1 now to Wieters with Hardy on deck. Hill there on the right side, up and over. 2 up and 2 down. Tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch, presented by Joseph Abboud, available at Men's Warehouse. TC, Tim Wakefield, and Steve Lyons will have an update on the American League playoff races. Cleveland with a 7-game lead on Detroit in the Central. Texas leading by 9.5 over the Houston Astros. Texas has 90 wins. Red Sox are trying to catch them now at 87, hoping for a home field advantage come postseason play. That is in there for a strike on Hardy. I think you could say John Farrell's team is playing its best baseball of the season right now, when it matters the most. Fly ball to center. Jackie barely has to move, and that's a 1-2-3 7th inning for Clay Buchholz, who's been outstanding. United Bank. Jerry, let's take a look at what topics people can vote on to hear you talk about tonight on NESN Sports Today. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. What's looking good to you?
Well, let's talk about all of them. I mean, if the score holds up the way it is right now, why don't we just talk about everything, you know, and just stay on all night?
You do about 3 or 4, post-game hits, so you will talk about all of them.
Is that all it is?
Depends on the night. In there for a strike. Buchholz just magnificent tonight. A 3-hitter.
Yeah, very strong tonight for Buchholz. That's 2 in a row. Very good games for him. Yankees last time, Orioles this time.
And a clutch spot. A slicer foul by Travis Shaw. He's 1 for 3 with a base hit. Red Sox got all of their runs in the 6th inning. As it turns out, all unearned, but a 5-1 lead here into the 8th. And the Red Sox starting to put the hammer down on the clubs following them in the American League East. Hill on deck, and then Jackie Bradley. 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. When he started out throwing a terrific changeup and really trusting that pitch, and as you pointed out several times, Jerry, when he's doing that in the very first inning, it's going to be a good night for him.
Well, I think it was an attack he wanted to use against this club because they're very aggressive. I mean, they're thinking home runs on every single pitch, and you've got to be very careful on first pitches to him because a lot of them like that first pitch. And I think that's why you saw a lot of changeups early in the game from Buchholz. He had a very good cut fastball tonight, mixed in the curveball.
Line shot down the left field line. Kim on the run, won't get to it, but it's a foul ball. It takes a skip up into the stands. At the Cancer Center at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, doctors and scientists are working together on therapies of the future today, from developing new treatments to delivering leading compassionate care. Learn more at bidmc.org/cancer center. The attendance announced tonight at 20,865 for Game 3. Red Sox trying to take the first 3 of a 4-game series. High fly into right. Here's Trumbo.
Buchholz with 4 strikeouts tonight. You'll notice none of them on a fastball. There's 3 of them are going to be on changeups. There's a changeup right there to Adam Jones. Another changeup to Davis. Another changeup, and then we're going to see the curveball. So all off-speed pitches for the 4 strikeouts for Buchholz in the game tonight.
Nice moment there with John Farrell as Clay came out after 7 superb innings. Aaron Hill with an infield single in the 6th inning turned out to be a key play as he hustled up the line. Red Sox would score 5 times in that frame. Big play, a horrible throw by Davis, the first baseman, on what would have been the 3rd out at first base as he fired it past the pitcher. Red Sox scored twice on that play, and then moments later Benintendi crushed a line drive 3-run homer.
What a time to hit that was to Benintendi. I mean, you get a play like that, and it's just a disaster for the Orioles, allowing 2 runs to come in and the Red Sox take the lead after being shut down. And it should have been the last out of the inning. All of a sudden, the next pitch is about 94 miles an hour, and the guy that was throwing 97, and Benintendi takes it out of the park.
3-0 on Hill. Taking all the way in for a strike, Jackie Bradley, the on-deck hitter. And now Tazawa along with Ziegler in the bullpen. Tazawa getting a lot of rest these days. Red Sox now with Koji back in the fold, and is he ever delivering? Right to Machado, and sets him down for the 2nd out, and out hops Showalter out of his dugout. Don't miss NESN Live weeknights at 5:30. Get the latest on your favorite teams. NESN Live is presented by Cross Insurance. They're going to bring Dunsing, the left-hander, on to face Jackie Bradley. We'll take the break as well. Red Sox ahead 5-1 with 2 down in the 8th. Saturday morning at 9 on Nesson. Billy and Jenny take you on a journey at the intersection of where sports and dining meet. Dining Playbook at Nesson, driven by your New England Chevy dealers. Red Sox in the lead 5-1 here in the 8th inning. Dunsing out of the pen, the left-hander, making his 12th appearance. They bring him on to take on Jackie Bradley. Goes after the first pitch and skies a pop-up off third. Machado near the dugout, lunging in and hung up on the railing and able to make the play. Outstanding play by Machado. I've said that before. And the Red Sox go 1-2-3 here in the 8th inning, but still on top 5-1 over the Orioles. Terrific, allowing only 3 hits in 7 innings. Benintendi with a clutch home run, a 3-run blast. Jimenez gone after 5 1/3. Did not allow an earned run. All of the runs are unearned. The Red Sox have, but they have 5 of them. So it is on to the last half of the 8th inning. Brad Ziegler will have the baseball. Came on to face Adam Jones with a 3-run lead, 2 outs in the 7th, and 2 men on. Got him a fly out last night for his 7th hold of the season. And a nifty 152 earned run average for the man who will be a free agent at the end of the season. Red Sox going for a season high 7-game winning streak at just the right time. Adam Jones will lead it off here in the 8th inning, top of the order for the Orioles. It's been a low hit game, total of 9 hits. Sox have 6 of them. More activity in the bullpen as Robbie Scott gets going alongside Joe Kelly. And the 1-0. 2-0. Jones tonight with a strikeout. He's also driven in a run with a sacrifice and singled. He'll look at a strike. A ways to go yet, and still a very dangerous lineup here. But if the Red Sox win this game, they will take the first 3 games of the series and have a chance at another sweep tomorrow. Pedroia with the stop and gets him for the first out. And that's with David Price on the mound against Chris Tillman. Runs figured to be at a premium tomorrow.
And Ziegler getting his job done by getting that ground ball from Adam Jones right at Dustin Pedroia. Of course, Ziegler a submarine style sinker ball pitcher.
Kim 0 for 3. 2 groundouts and a fly ball to deep center field. He rips a liner, but Betts makes a little hop there to haul that one in for the second out. CBS Health is a proud supporter of Stand Up to Cancer. Now through October 1st, you can support innovative cancer research by making a donation at CVS pharmacy locations, or you can donate online at cbs.com/SU2C.
Can't believe I said that Ziegler's a submarine-style sinker pitcher. What else would he be? I mean, what else could you throw from down there, right? that was a real dumb statement.
Well said, Rem Dog. Here's Machado, 0 for 3 tonight. And again, only 3 hits all evening for Baltimore. 2 of them by one guy, Jonathan Scope. And the last time up, Clay Buchholz struck him out. They did an excellent job against their tough hitters. They've got a lot of them. Hammered but fouled. Orioles came into play tonight as the #2 wild card team with a 1.5 game lead over the Tigers. Toronto the #1 wild card team. So if the season ended tonight, Baltimore would get in. Swing and a miss, and down he goes. He struck him out. Ziegler with a very fast 8th inning. He gets him 1, 2, 3. But Foxwoods Resort Casino will premiere at the 2nd annual Globe Docs Film Festival. That's Hub Week on Wednesday, September 28th, 7 p.m. at Fenway. For tickets, go to globe.com/Ortiz. You can also catch the debut on Nesson that same night after the Red Sox-Yankees game. That's right, still one more stop for the Red Sox in the Bronx. Last 3 road games of the regular season. On to the 9th inning, 5-1 Boston. Red Sox looking to win their 7th in a row. And take a 5-game lead on Toronto and 6 on Baltimore. Sandy Leon with a high fly to left center field. Kim and Jones there, and the left fielder Kim with the catch for the out. 1 man gone. Sandy is 0 for 4 tonight. He is the man who hit the ground ball to first with the bases loaded. It should have ended that inning. But the Red Sox wound up with 5 runs in that 6th inning because of the misfire by Davis. And then Benintendi crushed a home run.
Here's the home run from Benintendi. A fastball that got a little bit inside, and out it goes over that scoreboard. 2nd for Benintendi in the big leagues.
3-run blast. Nice way to get to a 6-game hitting streak. He'll look at a strike. 11 of his last 17 hits have gone for extra bases. When he's been in that lineup, he's been driving the ball. 1 out in the ninth, and the breaking ball settles in for a strike from Dunsing. Robbie Scott continues to work, and now all by himself in that bullpen. Ziegler again breezing through an inning, 1-2-3, as he just worked the 8th. It'll pop up off third base. Machado to make the play. A lot easier than the last one he caught. It was inside the Red Sox dugout. And here comes Showalter again. 2 fast outs in the 9th inning with Pedroia about to come up. And he'll dip into the pen once more. So that'll be it for the left-hander. Red Sox in the lead here, 5-1. It'll be Wright, the right-hander, to enter with 2 down, and we'll be back with more in just a moment here from Camden Yards. With a 5-1 lead. What do you have to say about the hat, Jerry?
I don't know what to say. That's pretty special. And
yeah, left the house in that.
Yeah, can you imagine leaving the house with that on your head, driving up to the old ballpark,
and the missus goes, "Have a nice time."
Yeah, you're looking good tonight.
Wright, the right-hander, out of their bullpen. Red Sox encountered him early in the season when he was a starter, and they sent him down to the minor leagues. He was just recalled a few days ago from AAA, making his 18th appearance. Bases are empty, 2 down. 5-1 Boston here in the 9th. Red Sox closing in on another victory. And another victory on the road. And if they get it, the Red Sox will be 10 games over 500 for the season away from Fenway. And still 2 more series to come on this trip. Tampa Bay and New York. Pedroia 0 for 4. He trickles that one to the shortstop. Hardy will throw on to get him and retire the side. So that will do it. Red Sox go 1-2-3. Scott throwing in the bullpen as we go to the last half of the 9th. 5-1 Red Sox. Inning, Red Sox 5 and the Orioles 1. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, Garen Austin with you here from Camden Yards. The Red Sox are trying to go 3 for 3 in the series. And Robbie Scott coming out of the bullpen. Got his first major league win on Sunday against the Yankees. He struck out Gregorius, stranded a runner with McCann lining out in the 8th inning. And he wound up picking up the victory, and he's been quite a story, a success story, since the Red Sox brought him up.
Yeah, a couple of left-handers due up in this inning. Davis, followed by the right-handed Trumbo, then Alvarez. So at least in here to face Davis. There is action in the Red Sox bullpen, I think, just in case.
Davis with a strikeout, a walk, and a fly to center. It is Kimbrel with a 5-1 lead. Kimbrel just beginning to throw out there. And the first one spins in there for strike one.
First time you've seen Scott pitch. He's one of those guys, a lefty that drops down to the side with both the fastball and the breaking ball.
Signed by the Sox as a non-drafted free agent out of independent ball back in 2011. With the Paw Sox, a 2.54 ERA in 32 games. He actually started 6 games for the Paw Sox and named the organization's Lou Gorman Award winning in 2016. Here comes the 0-2. Waved at and missed, and he makes very quick work out of Davis for out number 1.
Well, that was no contest right there. I mean, the breaking ball, fastball, breaking ball, 3 pitches, and Davis back to the dugout. Dropping down to the side. You can see the breaking ball from that angle right there. It's almost like you got to look out toward the second baseman to pick up the pitch.
Here's Trumbo. He's gone 0 for 3. He has grounded out once and flied out twice. This one up the middle. Bogarts tested a sliding play, but it's going to be a base hit nonetheless for Trumbo. No chance for him to get up and make a throw to first base. That is only their 4th hit all night.
A long way to go here for Bogarts, as you can see, and no chance at all to get Trumbo at first base, even though he doesn't run well. It's nice range to get to that ball by Bogarts. And a pretty long slide after that. We're going to have a pinch hitter come up now for Alvarez, as he's been called back.
That'll be the youngster Mancini, who made his major league debut last night and crushed a home run for his first big league hit. And here comes John Farrell. So the manager's still working. So that'll do it for Scott. And Kimbrel will be called on to work here in a 5-1 ball game in the 9th inning with 1 away. We'll take the break. Trying to get these last couple of outs, And when Showalter brought Mancini off of the bench, and he has excellent powers, he showed last night in his major league debut. John Farrell countered to bring on his closer. Here's the home run swing from last night.
Yeah, put a pretty good charge in the ball last night here in Baltimore, getting his first major league home run way off the plate. They try to come inside with the fastball, but not far enough. And he goes into the Red Sox bullpen with it. Long shot.
And his mom, overjoyed, got the baseball as well. That was a terrific moment. So one away, and Mancini to climb in here against Kimbrel. Mancini hit .282 with 20 home runs, 68 RBIs between Double and Triple A this season. Last year, one of the finalists for the USA Today Minor League Player of the Year. Hitting for Alvarez, who went 0 for 3. Runner at first base. Red Sox leading 5-1.
I think the hope had been that Scott would be able to finish it off and not have to use Kimbrel, but not taking any chances with the situation the way it is. As soon as a man reaches base, they go for Kimbrel.
And the 0-1 from the flamethrower, and he goes with a breaking ball and misses there. A couple of big stars for the Red Sox tonight. On the offensive side, Andrew Benintendi ripping a 3-run homer. On the mound, certainly Clay Buchholz. 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, in line for the victory.
I'll tell you what, it's been tough to throw a strike to that side of the plate all night long for both sides.
Jordan Baker said no a lot on that side, almost exclusively. Trumbo on at first. Into right field. Betts right there. Mookie makes the play. And that's out number 2.
That's a nice looking swing. The Mancini there. Ball hit very hard, but right at Mookie Betts, right in his track. Big tall kid. Showed the power last night. Now going to the opposite field. Line shot, but Betts right there.
So the Red Sox are 1 out away from a season high 7 consecutive wins. Picked a great time to pull off a run like this. Scope with a ground ball to third. Hill with the stab. And that does it. The Red Sox have won again. Make it 7 in a row. They knock off the Orioles tonight 5-1. And now open up a 5-game lead over Toronto, 6 over Baltimore, with 10 games left to play. And TC going for another 4-game sweep come tomorrow night.